What's going on, guys? It's Noah from Pioneer Sport Cards. I forget what number we're on. It's been too many now, but I'm joined by a very special breaker, the second breaker I've had on. Joop, if you want to go say hello.
What's going on, everyone? What's going on, Noah? It's Joopsta 3 here. Really happy about that introduction. Not exactly a full-time breaker, but certainly one that's just kind of all in on the F1 world. So really happy to be here with you, Noah. I watch every single one of your episodes from start to finish. It's great what you're doing, and glad to be part of the show here today.
Oh, I appreciate it. I mean, they're a lot of fun to make. They can go kind of long. I don't think the shortest one was the first one. I feel like they just keep getting longer and longer, but they're fun to make. It's fun just to talk to people on the Discord and the community about F1 cards, where they think stuff's going, what they like, what they don't like. So happy to have you on. If you want to go ahead and give a quick intro of how you started into cards or F1 cards specifically, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, cool. So, I used to collect basketball cards 17 years ago. So that
Okay.
was 2003. Yeah, and it was a good time to break basketball or break
Yeah,
basketball
that's
cards
for
for
sure.
obvious reasons, right? And I remember, I think boxes being on the high end $250, and at the time, exquisite basketball I think was $500.
Oh, at that time that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, right? And because you could have boxes for maybe 40, 50, $60 for Fleer,
Yeah.
some of the well known stuff. And so, 17 years later, I hear talk of sports cards coming back, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I used to do sports cards. We're just coming out of the pandemic, but things in LA are still more or less shut down. So I headed over to Burbank for the first time ever
Okay.
in my life just to check it out. Have you ever been there, Noah? By the way,
I have not. I want to try to go this winter.
summer, right?
I'm heading down there, so I want to go visit it.
Yeah, give me a shout. There's a few of us on the Discord in the LA area, so
Yeah, for sure.
we'll take you around there. So I went to Burbank, and I remember bringing $500 in cash. I think this was in March, February or March actually,
Of this
and
year.
of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, of this year. Went into the store and asked the guys, listen, I have $500, expecting that it was a lot of money. What kind of basketball boxes can I get with this? And I mean,
Yeah.
they essentially laughed me out, and they're like, "Hey, listen, there's really only two boxes that you actually can buy at that price point." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so, long story short, bought a box of Panini Origins basketball,
Okay.
and ripped that up. And I think I got pretty much nothing. I got a Pritchard RPA. That was cool.
Okay.
But $500 for a $40 card
Yeah.
as your best card, it wasn't great. So I went back into the store, I think a few weeks later, and I saw F1 packs being sold. At the time, I think they were like $25, and it wasn't bad. So decided to just buy a box of Chrome Hobby at 500, and I pulled a Lano Orange Wave that I still have today, and that was a start, and it's been just a crazy ride the last 6 7 months.
Oh yeah, that's how I remember when I first saw the F1 cards. It's very quickly spiraled into me moving stuff to get more F1. That's just kind of I feel like the circle of how it goes.
Yeah, so you've always been in F1, right? I know you do a lot of baseball. That's kind of your foundation, right?
Yeah, my foundation of when I started was baseball. I transitioned into F1 stuff. I mostly was into tops now because I came in before
Uh-huh.
even the Chrome boxes, but once the Chrome boxes came out, I kind of gave it a little time. I was up at school then when they dropped, so I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll wait till I get to summer. So like it was like a month or two. Then I started going after the Chrome and Sapphire stuff. So I've probably been in Chrome and all that stuff for 4 or 5 months. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think for everyone that's not on the Discord, it's a great community because I remember after I opened the two boxes that I bought first, no one around me does cards right in my
Yeah.
personal network, and so I was just starving for conversation, and just finding people who actually collected. So obviously started with YouTube. Couldn't really find anyone outside of She Collects Cards.
Yep.
and that's the reason why I think your channel, your platform is actually really good because I know there's probably tons of people like me who aren't connected into the Facebook world or the Discord chats that we're in, or even on Instagram. Right, it's not their first go to look for more similar minded folks. So I think this platform is really cool. And on top of that, having conversation, hearing everyone, at least their voice in the Discord, it's really fun, especially MQH Canon last episode.
Yeah.
You guys roasted me pretty well.
Oh wow, it's all out of fun and love with the Discord. I mean, I love I won't say I love every single person, but I love about 99% of the people in there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to be able to talk to them, just go over some F1 thoughts. So all right, I'll jump into some two like quick talking points, and then we'll kind of go out of control from there. But first one I wanted to talk about is Alex Albon coming back to F1 for Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is probably one of the two bigger talking points I had. Reason is his stuff about a month ago was so extreme dirt cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and now like there was like I remember I bought the 70 for my 70th collection Albon for like $30, and now it just recently sold for 200.
Wow.
So like those like ridiculous like margins that you just can't find, or
Mm-hmm.
like I remember when the rumor first came out, I bought from somebody on there like $50 worth of Albon, and like it's way up from that because at that point I bought the rumor when it first like it dropped, and I was like, there's a 30% chance this happens, but I bought stuff at a price where I didn't think I would lose either way, and it just kind of I got lucky on that front.
Yeah, I mean, Aldon is an interesting one. I remember similar to you. I broke a case of Hobby Chrome.
Uh
I
huh.
think like 2 months ago, and the best autograph I pulled out of that was a Alex Albon Gold Wave.
Yeah.
And I was recently trying to sell a lot of Albon together,
Yep.
and I think I priced it at 650. And after he got announced, I think the comp might be from a day or two ago, but I saw the same Gold Wave go for $500. Buy it now. I think that
Yeah.
was yesterday or something like that. So I hear you. It's been absolutely crazy with his cars now.
No, yeah, that's why I think it's kind of like ridiculous in a way because like he's going to a Williams team that sure they might be great, but you're not going to expect incredible things out of them. And to see a price bump like this is like you're saying like I wonder like for a ratio what would be higher like this Albon one or the Russell because Russell's what I'm gonna talk about next, but
Yeah.
like the ratio between the two I wonder like what it would be because like you wouldn't like I would expect it to go up but not nearly as much as it has.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of arbitrage. Like people selling low on eBay
Yeah.
and lower than what the car's worth, and people that are just shooting for the stars. And and it's okay if you shoot for the stars, right? I'm all for that. But certainly with Albon, you gotta consider he's already been in F1. We're bringing him back because sure he's a great driver, but is he really gonna eclipse being a year older now too, 2 years
Yeah.
older now too? Is he really going to eclipse what he did when he was in his first stint in F1? So that's I think is there's a lot of people out there. Noah, you know that, especially now too, where people just want to buy whatever of an F1 driver rather than the F2 guys,
Yeah.
and supply is so limited that they're just willing to pay whatever just to have a card.
And I think that's exactly what the people like I don't know. Maybe I don't think this is a bad thing, but like I know whenever I see like any real F1 like color, I that's the stuff that jumps out at me because like maybe it's taking advantage of people, but like people always look for the color,
Hmm.
and even if people know nothing about F1, they go, "Oh, there's an F1 color card. Maybe I'll look to buy that for however X amount it was." Like I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I just always looked for the colors for the opportunities just to do really well in because everybody's always looking for a colored card from the set.
Yeah, I think this set it looks really good. 2020, I think blows at least from a product standpoint. I think it's clean. Both Sapphire and Chrome are some of the most beautiful cards I've ever seen. I don't know if that's because I'm just so into the product right now, and that's actually the reason why I decided to do braking because I was ripping boxes and just by myself late at night just 'cause I was bored and just going on live to show people because people were asking about, hey, just go on live so I can join you. And that was cool because really the reason why I'm so interested in it because the cards are amazing and I wanted to see as many cards as I could, and that's I've done that now where just a couple days ago we pulled that monster Hamilton, and without doing breaking, I would have never ever had that card come across my desk, right? And so as from a product standpoint, these cards are gorgeous, especially the portrait cards, and the color matches. We pulled like a red Mick Schumacher the other day, and that
Yeah.
was again one of the probably the top five prettiest cards I've ever seen
Yeah.
in F1. I think there's so many like strategies. If you're a collector, completing the rainbow, or if you're there's something for everyone in this F1 set.
I agree. All right, just like that, we're back. For those watching, I had to move my location again. So just like last week with MQH, I'm back in the car. So if service is spotty on that front, that's what it is. I'm sorry, I'm such a budget YouTuber, but we're trying to make things work. I have no idea where we just left off. If you,
We were talking about Almon,
oh
Noah,
yes,
and I think you wanted to talk about Russell too, right?
yeah, I'll go to the Russell point next. I have it up, and my
Mm.
point. I don't know how to say this, but sell all your Russell now. Buy it back in 2 weeks, and you'll be good to go. I don't know how much I really have to explain this, but people in the Discord still can't comprehend that cards can go down. And I feel like I get in arguments all the time over this that like your cards will go down. They can't just go up forever. So like all my Russell stuff I've sold. I'm happy with that. Get to move on to some other things. But just don't get too greedy with this type of stuff.
You sold out of all your George Russell, huh?
The only George Russell I currently have still is my base refractor. I sold all.
That's crazy.
I've sold all my base cards. I've sold all the stuff because I just can't.
That's probably a good move.
I just can't comprehend this. His big. I sold his base card. I sold 5 of them on eBay, 3 for 80, 2 for $100, and like I can't imagine getting a better price than that at any real point, to be honest.
Wow. I mean, I remember George Russell cards going for like 20, $25 base.
See, I remember. Like I've always like thought of the Russell as being like a $25 to $35 cardish, like over the whole course. So when I see it go up that high, like I don't know. I think maybe that's just me being maybe call me like I don't even think I'm a pessimist. I think I'm just a realist for this stuff. That
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, a Lando base was probably like $35, and George Russell's trailing Lando by about $10.
yeah,
And now, and I know you were the one in Discord and telling everyone, that there's going to be a dump of Russell as soon as the announcement is made, and I think you saw on eBay in one day there's over 100 listings, low end, mid end, and high end that came out on market the same day.
Yeah.
So, you're probably if you can make 4 times your money on a single card, I'll take that all day long.
yeah, especially for the Russells I was buying. Like I was getting those for like at the they were the ones I got from the National for like $10 a card for a base card.
Wow.
So it's like I 8 to 10x the base card. So like I have no complaints. If it goes up another $100, I can't complain about those margins at all.
Yeah, you never make money, or you never lose money when you make money, right? So just, I mean, those who have been in the card market long enough really understand kind of the ebbs and flows of things. Just like there's a lot of chatter, a lot of talk about, a pullback at the end of the F1 season, and that goes for just wax and singles, right? I would say the ones that are worth keeping of his are the low number stuff, some more of the rare things that you may not have the chance to buy back. But to your point, any of the commons or base cards, that stuff can be bought back really good at any time.
And I think that's the reason why I haven't sold his refractor yet. Like I technically I have it listed on eBay, but I mean I definitely have like a higher price, like because I'm not. I figured I sold all my base. Like I'm not in a rush to sell the refractor by any means. And like
Mhm.
I guess you could also say it's me hedging my bets. If I'm wrong on and Russell keeps going up, I'm still gonna all have that card that's better than all the base. So like I don't know. That's kind of like that's just like the smart thing to do. I think in this case, like to sell the stuff you don't need or you can buy back easily. Like I know a refractor was really it's not gonna be hard to buy, but it would be harder than to find just a random base card.
Yeah, no, those refractors are actually hard to pull. And I didn't really understand, and that's with the breaking that I'm doing on Instagram now. I really get a good sense of what cards are hard to pull, and like when you do pull a really rare card, you appreciate it more because it's like, wow, I ripped through X, Y, and Z, and I only found one, right? So
Yeah.
I think the base refractors are actually, Lewis, Max, and George Russell, Lando. They're really actually really hard to hit. And another thing about those refractors, I don't know about your condition, but it's so hard to pull a clean one. It's really hard. Or any of these, night high end cars are, most often probably 80% of the time coming out of the pack pretty damaged, and I thought that was because of the factory in Italy. But for my birthday, I bought a box of Topps Chrome Soccer 2020 and 2021,
Yeah.
and on the back it says Made in Italy, Noah, and the cards in there are beautiful. There's no issues with anything. So I'm just like, what happened with the F1 run?
So for the refractors you're talking about, what damage are you finding on those print lines, like the edge damage? I know it's kind of different because it's a refractor, but I'm curious what the damage that you've been seeing on them are. Because from what I remember, mine looks pretty clean, but I might not be looking at the right thing, perhaps.
Yeah. So in one case of mine that I ripped recently, there was a print line right down from top to bottom vertically on a lot of the cards. I
Okay.
would say probably and I'm talking like base cards too that should have no issues with it, right?
Yeah.
They were having about 80% of those cards. That was really that was hard to see.
Yeah.
Pack after pack, clearly something was wrong. And I know the colored cards they have the back issue, but for the refractors, I saw a lot of dimples. There's a lot of dimples in there on the front,
Uh,
especially on the front, and just like scratches about probably 2 centimeters in length in the front, just vertical ones.
gotcha. I know
And I saw
for
that happen to Orlando.
you can go ahead. I'll chime in when you're done.
Yeah, no, I pulled a Lando and a George Russell, both that were in pretty good condition. Other than that, 2 centimeter scratch at the front. Again, probably from the same printer or whatever they use. I'm just thinking like, how can a product be so littered with a less than yeah, with so many problems.
No, yeah, because I need to probably check mine for dimples. From what I remember, I don't think I have any of the surface scratches on it. But like, I don't think I checked for dimples. I haven't checked it in like a month or so. So maybe I'll go check for dimples later. Because I
Yeah,
always dimples are the thing. Like that surface dimple is the thing I always forget about on the Chrome cards. So that's probably something that like I need to pay more attention to because like I just don't ever think about it.
yeah. And then I know you're not big on sending cards to PSA, but who do you typically do you grade your cards or do you just keep them raw like everyone in the
So
store?
my whole thing right now is if I'm getting high end F1 like $500 plus F1, I'm gonna send it into PSA. If it's below that, I probably won't send it in. Like I'm trying to think of an example of this. Like the George Russell like refractor. I think
Yeah, it's
right
like
now,
three,
like,
400 now.
what's up?
What's the refractor going for Russell now?
Yeah,
Three, four,
so
five.
last I checked a couple days ago, it was anywhere from $400 to $500 about. So I'm right, like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's right at the range where like if I put the $150 down, like it's right at the range where I can send it in and I can still feel okay about it, no matter what grade it comes back. So like I think PSA reducing their prices helps me a little bit for some cards, like kind of in that $400 to $500 range, where I might hesitate a little bit less now. But yeah, if I have anything like, I've only had like two cards that are even close to 1,000 plus for F1, but
Mm.
I've sent both of those in. So
Yeah,
any
I
high
think
end, I
now's a
think we're sending in.
good time though. Especially with Express dropping to 150, 2 days ago or whatever, from 200 to 150. I think that's a great price point. I can't believe I'm saying 150 is a good price point, but everything's relative, right? So
Yep.
it's better than paying the 200. And for me, it's just like I like seeing the cards in slabs. I don't have to worry about picking them up. Like they'll be protected and whatever. And it's a good look for cars, at least from my perspective. So 150 is a good entry point. Definitely for the George Russell refractors.
That's why I say like you said, it's all relative. Like how much the card's worth. Like because like of course that's a ridiculous price to pay, but if a card's going for that much, like that 150 in the grand scheme of things is not gonna kill you if you already have a card worth, let's say $500.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed.
All right, so
What do you think?
go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can ask a question.
No, I was gonna say, on the Discord today, just with Russell going to Mercedes, his prices have skyrocketed, right? What's your prediction on the guy at Mercedes? Is he gonna live up to expectations? Is he gonna be, going head to head with Max? What's your take on the guy?
I'm high on Russell, so I'll say he will. I won't say he'll beat Lewis first year, but I think second year he'll contend with Lewis. Um, that's why I think that's part of the reason. Like I think Russell's like a year, like at least like a year away from really contending for a championship. Like most people always give the first year a pass in a new car. So that's why like the prices like I see on the Discord for all this new Russell stuff is like ridiculous prices to be paying because like when you look at him, like he only has what one podium in a not even real race, no wins. For his prices to be like not quite to max, but like you could say he's starting to like he's set himself apart as the third like biggest driver probably for prices, and like
Yeah, no,
it's
he's
ridiculous.
he's definitely above Lando now, right? Would you say he's
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
above
for
Lando?
on a price wise level, I think it's pretty fair to say he's surpassed Lando for those. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he's a marketable guy too. I think on the Discord today people were making they're talking about how Zion and Lamella Ball in basketball had these ridiculous prices for having done essentially nothing, right?
yeah,
So the same thing is essentially happening to George Russell now. Williams, the team can be compared to the Charlotte Hornets or the Pelicans, right? Where it's not really a big city or a big team, what have you. But certainly, there's talent there, and I think George Russell in the future is going to give Matt. Well, we're not going to think about Lewis anymore because he's kind of halfway out the door already. But
yeah.
definitely going to be giving Max a good run for his money. So I'm excited about the future of F1.
Oh no, I'm really excited for where things are going to be going next year. I'm super excited for that first week. Like it'll be like how it was this year, but on times 10, because you don't know where a team's going to fall into place. Like Haas, they haven't done any upgrades to this year's car. Like imagine like what they like could potentially roll out next year to be like a how they were a few years ago, where they were a decent midfield team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm
Yeah,
excited
or
about.
even like even teams going up or teams falling off. Like I
Yeah.
think Ferraris, more or less fell off, in the span of 1 year. So it'll be interesting. Things are no one knows where or how these are going to start. So I did a post recently about just I think like 3 years ago because there's tons of people watching the Netflix show and coming in and realizing that, oh my god, there's great competition and like Mercedes has always been the team to chase, but sure they have absolutely, but there were teams like Ferrari that at one point were real contenders, and as it stands today are the most history team, right, with the most wins and the
Yep.
most culture and history behind it. And I know the majority of F1 fans probably fall in that camp where they're all Ferrari. And recently, I've seen that shift to Mercedes and Hamilton, but it'll be interesting I want some more. I want some more manufacturers actually to get into the game too. I think McLaren and Aston Martin are kind of leading the charge to go against Ferrari and Mercedes. But I definitely want to see, and that's what's good about the old days where there was more teams, more manufacturers actually putting their money and putting the money into F1 and seeing where their teams can go.
Yeah, I just so kind of on that line, I just saw a I don't know where I saw this. Maybe it was Reddit, maybe it was Twitter. Something about that how F1's getting rid of the MCUH, which by the result of that might put Red Bull in partnership with Volkswagen in the next year or two.
Wow.
So I would I need to check where I saw that from, but I just saw that right before I hopped on with you. So that's something that could be potentially a big deal if Volkswagen gets in, if BMW comes back, stuff like that could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I think that stuff is all good, just because it makes F1 a little bit more relatable
Yeah,
to the real world, right? Because if Volkswagen comes in and all of a sudden you have Porsche under the group, and you have Bugattis under there, Bentleys under there, Lamborghinis under Volkswagen, right? So you'll have kind of some more. Um, I think you'll have a lot more fun in F1 too, and that's something that I'm sure the other guys are watching F1 too now, and they're like, oh, maybe we should be invested, and we should be branding ourselves in, the apex motorsport, right?
no, yeah, I agree exactly with what you were saying on that. Like, even like if you know like almost nothing about it, you can always like if they're the more manufacturers that are in the sport, the more like let's say you drive a Volkswagen, you have no rooting interest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll root for my Volkswagen team. I drive a Volkswagen. Like just
Yeah.
stuff like that to get like a common basic person even interested at all, just to have the smallest interest whatsoever.
Yeah, look at Plaza, Sports Car Plaza, and his Alfa Romeo. He loves those logo cars now.
Uh, I haven't even been seeing what he's been buying recently. He's all over the place. Like I haven't been on
Really?
the I haven't been like as active the last week or two, but I know he's just when I see him on there, he's all over the place buying like or asking for the most random cards you can possibly find.
Yeah, I have no idea. He's always like he has a very specific car he's looking for, and like it's funny. I don't know what these guys are doing behind the scenes or who they're trying to buy cards for, but it's funny to see like like looking for X, Y, and Z specifically, and ready to buy. It's just like you can't be collecting all those master sets, can you?
No, yeah, like I remember there's I can't remember. Maybe he was asking for an orange Hamilton last I saw, or maybe he's trying to sell an orange Hamilton. I don't know. He's always doing a bunch of like crazy things. Like every few days he'll come in with just like the most random card, like looking for
Mm.
purple Russell one day, and then the next day it'll be like looking for red Gasly. Like no rhyme or reason whatsoever,
Yeah,
which is always
exactly.
funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's cool. There's I think there's never been for people like you and me who've been collecting these F1 cards for a couple of months now. It's really nice seeing the rest of I guess the card world. Finally showing some appreciation for these cards and the value that these cards should have. I think the Topps Chrome name is very transferable, right? And
Yep.
so a lot of people are coming into F1 with a little bit more comfort. At least from my breaking, I see that as well, right? People are probably in the last month. There's been more new breakers than old guys that have been with me for a while.
Yeah.
Just seeing, and a lot of them don't know what they're pulling. So I think we're definitely growing, definitely headed in a good way.
Ah, excuse me. Yeah, but yeah, it's a funny point because like I this will I haven't told you this, but I know you pulled what did you pull like the purple Hamilton I think it was image variation and yeah
Yeah,
like I
purple one.
yeah the purple one. So like I was like what was I doing? I can't remember. I was like walking to class or something, and I happened to have my headphones in, and I popped over Instagram real quick, and it was like on it went onto your live video when you pulled it, and it was so funny, just like because like there's so many people who buy into these breaks and have no idea what they're pulling. Like
Yeah,
potentially somebody who's in that spot just like has no clue. Oh, it's a purple card. That looks kind of cool, and they're pulling what 4 or 5 figure cards.
Yeah, that one for
Ridiculous.
sure, five-figure car. 20, 30,000, in my opinion, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That quote was insane, and I started this whole thing just because I wanted to see as many cars as I can, right? Some of the higher end stuff, just
Yeah.
to hold it in my hand, really appreciate it, and that purple Hamilton was the perfect example of that, right? I remember, going through it, and I saw the right side of the car. You know how the variation Hamilton has the horizontal slants or whatever he's sitting behind
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that, and then I saw the purple color. I was like, oh my god, this is either Boatman or this is Hamilton, right? So
Yeah.
I was happy for the guy, and but you know what? That's the thing too. It's I was telling Cannon, and he mentioned it last week, and I appreciate that. I think this, our community is really about picking each other up, when you're kind of down or whatever. But in the last couple of weeks, it's been harder for me to kind of just be engaged in like putting all my time into this because I have a full time job, and I really started this just to kind of get bring a price point when these boxes are $1,000, right? A lot of people, the majority of people can't spend $1,000 on a personal box or go
Yeah.
to LCS with a box, right? So I thought, what was the only way to really make this product accessible, give everyone the same amount of chances to people to pull the best card possible. And that wasn't like pick your team format where you pay like Mercedes pays like 30% of the box, right? The guy that's picking Haas is just going to get Haas cards that are worth not much at all.
Yeah.
So doing this, but then when you start breaking and then you start interacting with the community, the old guys are really great, but even the new guys, I can't tell you how many times, Noah, where people are just like not trusting of you, right? And just like being, hey, where's your card? Where's my card? Or like, hey, show me a picture of the card with you right now. Or like, hey, when are you going to send my card? Can you send it, X, Y, and Z, in this way specifically?
Yeah.
And it's just like, you I understand I'm like taking people's money, so that's right off the bat going to be a different thing. But the love and effort that I put into this really wasn't. I wasn't expecting to come into this and seeing all these, I guess, the distrust in the community, and that's really amplified now by folks from basketball or any other football, any other sport coming into this and like kind of creating a different kind of culture, right? So I would say in the last week or two as well, I've been kind of a little bit more disengaged just because it's hard to put 100% and have less than 100% given back.
I think this also kind of touches back to last week how I've always felt F1 to be more of like a personal, more family feel. So like when people are like, and like just like you said, like when you're taking money from them, they expect a good service. But like I think people underestimate like, especially when I was talking to Buff and like how much time braking actually takes to do stuff like to ship out all the stuff, to package all the stuff. Like even like I had to ship out like eBay packages a few days ago, and it's like I only had I had to ship out like maybe 8 to 10 packages, but it's just like you just don't want to do it because you know it's going to take you a while. So like the more power to those people who can actually sit down and do all that stuff every day, because I know I couldn't like handle doing that.
Yeah, I remember I bought a card from you before, and it was great. I know who packages well and who doesn't. I just got a card back from Canon. I think last week. Great packaging. The Lewis 144 that I bought from you, my all-time favorite card in the set. You package great, but the group breaking, it's like 11 different packages going out.
Yeah,
And you have to. There's a lot going behind the scenes, and Buff will kind of tell you the same thing. If you do the group breaks, it's very time consuming, especially with full time job, right?
yeah,
And in LA, driving to the post office, waiting in the time in a long line for 10 people deep, waiting to send these out. It's going to buying the packages, buying the material that's needed, sorting the cards, putting them into the sleeves and putting them into the team bags, and it's definitely a lot of work. But I'm only doing it because I think it's fun. Right? I
yeah,
wouldn't do this if it was real work. But I think as soon as when there's a sense of distrust or like when I'm kind of questioning myself like, oh, why are you even asking me this? That's when it becomes less than fun. And you start thinking, maybe I'm putting too much time into this and trying to fill these breaks and trying to do. I used to do one a day, whereas now it's just kind of like I don't feel right going to people and charging X amount of money for a spot and not hitting anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's I think boxes, especially at Sapphire, close to $2,000. That is insane because what do you you're paying two-thirds of the price of an Aqua Hamilton,
Yeah.
and that's considered like a huge card to pull, right? But you're paying two-thirds of the price of that per box. I think that's crazy.
I think that's the point where I'm at with buying those boxes, where it's like you could spend the 2,000 on the box, and then like you said, like that Hamilton, like that's like a huge pull, and there's not that many of those, and that's only what, like 33% higher than the cost of a box.
Yeah.
And most you might get one card worth that much, and maybe like an entire case, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's definitely ridiculous, and I think the hobby's transitioned into ripping more chrome now. A lot of people are requesting more chrome just because the price point of Sapphire is just spiraling out of control. I think everyone's been talking about the breaker who bought I think like 40 boxes and sold it to one guy in one night, and didn't even have the time in one night to rip all those boxes. That's and both parties knew nothing about F1. It's I'm happy for F1 cards, but it's actually really hard for people who've been in it for a while because I can't justify paying $3,000 for that Aqua Hamilton now when I know probably a month ago it was half of that at 1500-1600.
That's also a very good point for prices, because like like it's hard to justify it when you know how much cheaper they were just a little while ago. Like that's like me with trying to finish off these like the 70th collection. Like there's so many cards I can find. I can find them on eBay, but I just can't justify paying the prices that they go for when I've seen them sell for like 60% less than what they're listed for, like in the past. And like that shit very well might have sailed on some of those cards, but like it's just hard for me to stomach that.
Yeah, what cards are you? Do you have a couple left, or are you like 70% of the way there?
So, sorry, I keep coughing, but so I'm currently I'm 75% of the way done. I have 15 out of 20. One of my next ones I will be buying in a few days. That's a big purchase for me. When I say the 5 names left, you can only assume one of the few I'm talking about when I say a big purchase. The ones I'm missing are Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Sergio Perez, and Giovinazzi. So I have that lined up. I'm just waiting for eBay funds to clear, as it takes a few days.
Yeah.
Then I'll be buying that, and I think that very well will be my biggest. Yeah, I think that it will be my biggest ever card purchase. So
for sure.
It'll be fun, but like it's just like when you think about it, like damn, like I'm spending all this money on cards. But like I don't know, like if you watch like YouTubers like for card stuff, but the one that always stands out to me is Northeast Ohio. How he always says, you have your like money you actually use for real things, and you have the money you only spend on cards. So like I don't put any of the money I really like, any of my actual money like on cards. I just keep using the card money because like if everything goes up, like at least I'm not gonna like be like in deep trouble on that front.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to get lost in cards, right?
Yeah.
There's always something to buy, and there's always someone willing to sell. And if you actually love the sport and you love collecting, it's the perfect mix of bad news.
Yeah, I don't know how on track this is, but I remember when I went to shows, I realized like I did my first time ever dealing, and like it's so much harder to sell than it is to buy, because like when you're buying, like as long as you like it, it's easy. But like if you're selling, you have to find the right buyer, and for some stuff that's not easy. Especially like if you find some oddball F1 stuff, like sure like that, like it'll sell not that bad. but like you have to find the right person for that high end to actually move it to, and that's the struggle
Mm-hmm.
for having a card worth a couple thousand. Where like the people who are actually interested in buying are like maybe like on two hands.
Yep. You make a really good point. And I remember you telling everyone you were doing your first show not too long ago, right? So you've seen that.
Yeah.
Actually done a couple shows now. I think three shows in the LA area
Okay.
in the last couple of months. And I remember my first show. I think it was like 2 months ago or 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago maybe now. The majority of my cards were F1 and some basketball that I've been trying to move so I can buy more F1. But
Yeah.
it's you're definitely right. Anything over call it $500 is going to be exponentially harder to sell. And like from a 500 or a $5,000 card, you're really kind of counting on one hand on the number of people that are able to buy it first and then willing to buy it. Right? Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think, but just in the last 3 shows, the first show I did was it was it was almost impossible to find someone that was into F1, and I think my most recent show 2 weeks ago, that one was cool because people are like, oh my god, you have F1 cards, aren't these really exploding now? And so you definitely have a lot more folks who know what's going on in F1, at least know who the good drivers are,
Yeah.
and so that's pretty cool to see. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah. For these shows or these just like I'm guessing these are just local LA ones. I know some of the shows they have going on, but like does like Burbank host shows down there, or like how's the LA scene? Because I know it's always crazy from what I see.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually really crazy. You will at least no less than two shows. You will at least have two shows every weekend.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy because LA is pretty big. And so you'll have a show up where Burbank is,
Yep.
one or two shows there. Yeah, you'll have one in LA proper. You'll have I think two or three shows in East LA or in the Irvine area.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a pretty good scene here, and I really when I thought about it, I was like, why does LA outside of having a big population, why does LA have such a big culture of cards? And I really think it's because we have Burbank to essentially hold it down. Burbank is a store for people who don't know. They're a local card shop that has almost anything at any time and is willing to buy almost anything, at X amount of percentage of comps on eBay, for example, right? So
Yeah.
in that sense, they're really a bank for the sports card market in LA. They provide liquidity to the markets, right? So if you want cash, if you need cash, and you don't want to sell it online for whatever reason, they will give you cash for a card. It might be 60-70% comps, but you will have a buyer of a card. So I think that's like the bedrock of the LA scene, where it inspires confidence in the market to continue to buy cards because there's more or less always going to be a person to sell it to.
Yeah. I've the thing that's always been crazy to me is like when you like really think about it, like how everybody talks about Burbank. In reality, it's just like a normal local card shop. There's nothing inherently
Yeah.
like I'm sure like if I go like in my area where I'm at now or back home, like you can find a car shop that's roughly the exact same, just like Burbank is. But it's just the scene they have, the reputation they've gained for being like buying all that stuff is like turned them into such a big like name that like I don't think there's only maybe one or two shops I can think of that are like have something that's somewhat similar recognition as a shop, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they do a really good job because the owner is always greeting people, and I'll give him that. It takes a lot of energy on his end to do that day in and day out. They just expanded
Yeah.
into a somewhat bigger store, but to your point, it's just a card store, right? There's nothing flashy about it. It's sure they have some nice cards there, but it's no different than really anyone else's local card shop. But take if you don't believe me, take a stack of cards and go to your local card shop and say, what
Yeah.
are you willing to give me on any of these cards, and they might pick the best one, right, and give you somewhat of a low offer on it. If it's not, a very liquid card, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give it to them. You have to have that business where you have the ability to buy back cards and do all of that. That's not something that 95% of the shops out there can do that, because there's probably 10 stores, biggest card shops in the LA area, and they're really the one shop in town that's able to do that. I've been trying to tell the guys, I was like, listen, you guys got to stock more F1, got to stock more F1, and I think they've had one card there for the longest time. It's just a Lewis Hamilton Sapphire True Portrait base.
Uh-huh.
PSA 9. It's been sitting there for weeks, and the price point is actually pretty good. I would pick it up if I didn't have one already. But yeah, it's just it's interesting. Maybe I'll go back and see if it's still there now that F1's just flying. But
Yeah.
it's good to see that they're at least stocking the wax now, and that's good. That's good for everyone.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get some this 2021 wax when it comes out, just because I've been dying to rip, but I just can't rip at these prices currently. So, I mean, that's probably a good thing that it's so high that I can't afford to rip it. So I guess on that aspect it's good because it makes me just buy singles. But buying singles is the smart play. But like you can only buy singles for so long before you're just like I want to rip something.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. Singles are nice, but you know what you're getting, right? Ripping is just that's the other part of why I started ripping, is because like I was ripping like a couple bucks a week by myself, and I was like, all right, I'm just doing this because I want to see what's inside of this.
Yeah.
So it's nice that other people are sharing that with me with the boxes that I have. But do you have any on pre-order for 2021 or?
I have none. My goal is to find some cheap retail, but
Mm,
that's why like if I can't find anything, I'm not too worried about it. But if I could find cheap retail, that would be like the perfect thing for me. Just something where I can open some packs for some cheap, not like being it too much, just have fun with what I get.
yeah, no, this is a good move, especially it being kind of the second year. It's probably going to die down quicker than what we expect. But what do you think about the just visually? What do you think about the new set?
Um, I the problem I have with the set is the same I have with the baseball. The names are just too small on the front.
Mm,
That's why like it's funny because every year I always find a problem with the set designs. Like they like 2020, like I don't like the sideways names.
yeah, you said that on the last episode,
Yeah, I think the
whichever
sideways
one it
names
was.
are dumb. And then like this year, like the names are too small. Like it's hard to read them. So like I always find something that's just off with them. I feel like I think overall from just a card standpoint, I like 2020. I like 2021's design. I think a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
but the names just it's the names make it hard because like for us it's easy because we know all the drivers and we know everybody. But like if you don't know who these people are, like it's gonna be impossible for you to like. It's gonna take you forever to get through packs.
Yeah, I just opened a box of 2020-21 Topps Chrome. I think it's the UEFA Champions League, right?
Yeah,
The names on I'm looking at it right now. It's right in front of me, but the names are like probably a centimeter or centimeter and a half in height. I
yeah,
can't read that. Actually, I wasn't sure if I'm getting older. I don't think I'm too old, right? But you have to bring it closer to actually see who's on the. That's because I'm not. I don't do soccer, so I wasn't. I don't know the guys.
yeah,
But you're right. We know what Hamilton and Verstappen look like, so it's not terribly difficult to read. But I don't like the border of the new cards.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that checkered flag design.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how that. A lot of people are asking me right now. Are we gonna do? We're gonna do group breaks for 2021. And I always say, listen, I don't even know how long I'm gonna be breaking in general, right? But if
Yeah.
I did, I don't know if that's what I want to do, because I love the 2020 set so much. I think Topps paper, having relics and whatnot. I used to be a big patches, autographs,
Yeah.
game used guy. That's been I collected Miami Heat cards all day long. Wasn't even buying the rookie cards, or just buying like game used jerseys and patches. I think that's just the coolest stuff ever. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they'll do with F1.
Yeah, and like I've always say like zig when other people zag. So if everybody's going for the 2021, I'll go for the 2020 stuff. If everybody's saying, look, don't buy the 2021 stuff, go buy 2020, I'll buy 2021. Bless me. Sorry. But
No worries, man.
but yeah, like I'm always like looking to see what other people aren't doing because that's where you find all your opportunities. So if everybody on the Discord's like, oh, I'm not feeling 2021, I'm gonna go keep buying 2020. That's when I'm gonna go look to buy the 2021 because that's when I know nobody has their eyes on it, and that's what you ultimately
Yeah.
want.
Right, right. So, I mean, we'll see. I think the pre-order prices are a bit high right now, but
Oh, they're 100%
that's
too
gonna,
high.
yeah, way too high. And I'll if it comes down, I probably should have bought it, a month ago when it was half the price. But maybe that I would consider a good price. But we'll see. I just much rather buy the singles, the relics that I really want, or the drivers that I really believe in, and collect it that way. But to your point earlier, you're gonna have that itch, right? So
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see, we'll see.
I think this is kind of to touch on the box prices.
Mm,
Like the box prices, like I always compare like this set. I've been comparing to flagship baseball. It's roughly the same thing if you're looking for paper products, not like decent product, nothing too crazy. And like I know because I bought 2021 Series One baseball. I bought a jumbo hobby for $250 for the jumbo, and a base hobby was going for like 120 to 150. So I think like if I were to get a like I couldn't spend more like for a box of this of the paper product, just the base hobby. I don't think I could spend more than $175 for a box. Just because I know I'm not gonna have a chance on an auto. I might pull a relic, and like we don't even know what those relics are. Those could be like tire relics. They don't
yeah,
like
we
have
don't
any
know.
meaning to them. So like at the prices where they're at now, 500 to 600, like it's ridiculous to buy those.
And what's crazier is there was a when 2020 came out, there was cards in the promo that were actually never produced, right?
Yep.
And so and knowing how many defects are wrong with with this set, and knowing that there's missing autographs in a lot of, I think Vettel has some, Albon has some. I know of George Russell's being floated around. I
Yeah.
know people aren't ripping off that autograph sticker for one.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so something's happening there where the QC or the whatever control at tops in Italy or whatever is not on point. So I'll kind of like definitely stay away from 21 for the time being. And listen, if it comes down in price and I want to buy a box or two, I'll go about it that way. But I'm not going to put any serious money into it.
That is wise words, I would say. So, do you have anything you're thinking about talking about? Like I told you before, I kind of came into this talk last second. So, you have anything that you? I think this is gonna go back to. I'll talk about this, I guess. This goes back to the selling point we made a while ago when I first went to
Mm,
selling at shows, and I think I underestimated how many, how much money you make through the dollar bins compared to the
mm.
showcases. Like maybe it's show by show basis, but the show I went to, like people weren't really buying out of my case; they were just going through the dollar bin to buy stuff, and like, I think that's something that I underestimated a lot. I don't know if that's how it is by you, but I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, when I do shows, I actually just never, and it's just because I don't have that. I don't have the product to put into it, but I never had dollar bins. But I know there's a guy that sometimes I'll buy a table and we'll split it 50-50. He's got a dollar bin going all day long, and the most traffic. People stay at the table longer. They really want to go into those things because that's if they see a car they want, they can buy that. It's at a price point that's more affordable.
Yeah.
Um, and going, Burbank just actually opened up a concept, right? There's a section in the store. They call it the fishbowl or whatever, but essentially they have these dollar bins or $2, $3 bins where you can find, and they're all labeled by Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Joe DiMaggio, for example, and like you can actually go in there and get a $2 card of theirs.
Okay.
And that place is always filled though. It's always packed. It's always people are always digging through there and paying for a couple hours at a time to go through everything. And that by itself, that ecosystem within the store, it really kind of just proves that that concept is what drives this hobby, right? People are buying those cards. Some people are flipping it for a double, and then if you do it with 100 cards, then you are able to trade up and buy a higher end card, right?
Yep.
So that's one strategy for a lot of people that don't necessarily have the means to purchase $1,000 card, $2,000 card, and that's at least one avenue in the hobby that gets you to that point. Especially with the younger collectors, right? It's something that gets them engaged, keeps them engaged, and with boxes at $1,000 almost in every single product, who can really afford that consistently, right? Or who wants to really do that consistently? So it's a good break for people to okay, I'm done with this for a while. Let me still stay engaged in cards and still want to buy everything pretty frequently, and I think it's good, especially at shows.
No, yeah, it's I don't know how to even touch on that, but you said it really well with how the more I think the point that I like that you mentioned is how like the longer like if you're at a show like you said like the more people you see around a table the more people are willing to go there to check out why everybody's crowding around. So I
Mm-hmm.
think like even stuff like that where I don't have no clue where I'm going with this to be honest with you, but like yeah like just the more people you have around stuff the better the more eyes you'll see it. And I think jumping to a different point, going back to like how it's hard to find buyers, especially with this F1 stuff. Like for the high end, like there's
Yeah.
cards I want to move right now for upwards of $1,000, and it's like the value is there, but like it's just impossible to find somebody to buy the stuff. And like I'm trying to get some cash to buy other stuff. But, like I'll maybe try again after we're done with this call in the Discord. But like people just like don't want to buy that stuff when they can buy so much cheaper stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially on the want to sell section on the Discord, there's a lot more gold variation Hamiltons, sapphires that are being sold for $6,000, or I think I saw a Lando Superfractor there for like 25,000 or best
I
offer. It's
I
just
do
like
remember seeing that one.
yeah, it's just like okay, you, you know, one person's just going to be casually going through the want to buy section, like, oh, Lando Superfractor, yep, that's the one I want today. Let me spend 25 grand on it.
I think yeah like I now that you mention it, I see less and less of those like because I remember like even a month ago, all day you'd find those lots of just like oh every card here $5
Yep.
or just like I don't know, like $10 to $20 cards. Like I from just I don't I'm not on there as like not nearly as often as I was over summer, but like I feel like I just can't find those type of things anymore on there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to your point, like I remember selling Lewis Hamilton just like the insert refractors or like sapphire inserts of Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton for like 10, $15.
Yeah,
Like that stuff even isn't even considered dollar box material, right? So like
yeah,
for F1, I don't think we're quite there yet for dollar bin activity. Um, just because what would you put in there? Would you put in like a Roman Grosjean insert from Hungary or not from Hungary, but like any of his car or a team logo in there? It's just like I don't even know what to put in there if I were trying to move some F1 low end stuff.
yeah. I think excuse me. I think maybe tonight I'll throw some stuff up there. Maybe I'll do a fun, cheaper section for the $5 to $10 cards because like those are the fun ones that people really can get interested in that aren't gonna break the bank. Because I know like I know I have some like cheaper colors of drivers that I could definitely move that I'm not like the biggest on. Because I know somebody will appreciate a $15 to $30 color card much more than I will. That's just kind of sitting in my stack right now that I can move on to something else with. So
Yeah,
maybe
no. What I've done this before a couple times now. Since I've ripped a lot of the wax here. I think I sold purple inserts or parallels at like $5 a card. and I was selling orange and not orange, but orange 70th and gold cards for like $7, I think it was.
Yeah.
Packing them up as a 30 card lot, and a lot of people, that's what they collect. They want to see that kind of stuff. So that's definitely an option.
Yeah, I know for a fact, like I have some weird colored stuff. Like I have like a Kiviat
Same.
World on Wheels gold, or like a Daruvula purple sapphire
What about
card.
that? What about that red F2 driver? We got you in my very
Yeah,
first print.
yeah, I do have the red Drugovich still.
Rogovich.
I still do have that. Maybe I throw that up there. I think I'll probably just keep it because it was a fun experience for me for my first ever break. But
Yeah, I think he spun out today, right on the F2.
I don't know.
Things.
I wouldn't surprise me. I don't keep up with F2 nearly as much as I should. I
Yeah,
know
me too.
who won. Porcher won the first race, and Daruvula won the second today. That's all about all I know. I didn't see any specifics, but
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, even like the F2, low numbered stuff moved pretty well right now.
yeah,
Obviously not at a very high price point, but it's not they're not pennies either. So
no,
I'm
yeah,
not entirely sure who's picking that stuff up. I would love to kind of see with the F2 niche, what those guys are doing, because there's going to be collectors for everything. Um, that's what I love the most about F1 right now. There's a lot of people coming into it from all different angles, strategies. So from the high end stuff, I think to really move the high end stuff, you got to know the people who collect these things. Especially for like the high end cards that I pull out of my breaks. You have the people come out of the woodwork and like, okay, how much for that card? Like, who pulled it? X, Y, and Z. It's just like,
yeah.
guys, I'm not trying to blow up anyone's spot, or I'm not trying to like, tell you know tell a random person who just got a $30,000 card, right? It's just like it's a fun time though. I like it.
No, yeah. That's where it gets kind of weird because like I know like if I were to pull a X amount like a $10,000 card, like I wouldn't want like somebody giving out like all the info about me for that type of stuff because like
Yeah,
you don't know how that
it's
stuff can
one thing
go.
for like people live and you see it. It's another thing for me to like specifically tell someone, oh, it's this person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Um,
it's they kind of just put you in a bad spot where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, really, because like somebody's gonna be upset in this situation. So
Yeah, yeah, and I don't even think I've ripped that much product too. I mean, I've gone through a lot. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think I'm nowhere near kind of the volume that Buff does or any of the breakers on whatnot, right?
yeah,
But just from across my desk, we've pulled some pretty crazy cards. We've gotten an Aqua Hamilton. We've gotten the purple out of 10 Hamilton. We've gotten a chrome variation Lewis Hamilton. We've gotten two Max refractors. We've got a Hamilton Gold 70th. I mean, it's just the stuff that comes across that I wouldn't normally be able to see is quite awesome to see. But yeah, there's a lot of, I feel bad about a lot of the people who do spend a lot of money with me and never hit. Can't imagine what that feels like, right? So it's a catch 22. I think that I'm providing a nice service for everyone, but the hardest part of breaking, and I don't know if everyone feels this way, that does this similar to me, is the pressure of hitting something for someone, especially on personal boxes,
yeah,
where some are behind the scenes where it's not on live, so that interaction is just one to one, and you're just like, oh man, guy just spent thousands of dollars and really didn't hit anything. That kind of stuff is just is tough to swallow when you don't hit them anything. But then there's guys that come in for a spot and they hit a 5 figure card, 10 figure card. So I really think it's just a lot of people who did daily fantasy, just really just switching gears and putting that money towards group breaks. It's when I was a kid, I would never pay someone to open my cards. That would be a no brainer. But things are different these days.
yeah. I think I kind of struggle with this with the breakers because like I think just like maybe I'm just more like I don't know how to describe this. Maybe I'm just better with my money than other people, but like what like I'm scared to do breaks because I inherently know the risk that there's a chance I don't pull anything or make my money back on stuff. Whereas I feel like some people just buy boxes and boxes and boxes, like, and maybe that's like a personal issue where they have gambling problems or stuff like that. But like I feel like as like I would call myself just a relatively average collector or spender for that type of stuff. Like I know the risk, and like it terrifies me that like I could buy into a $2,000 break of sapphire and hit not even a single card for my team.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And to your point, I remember we didn't hit you anything in the. Was it the mixer you did, or was it
Yeah, I did.
just the
It was a
sound?
mixture of chrome and one chrome, one sapphire, and I don't. I think I maybe hit three cards in the entire chrome box.
Yeah, I remember you didn't hit anything, so the pressure was on. I remember Noah was like, okay, Noah doesn't have anything. And you had all F2, and I was like, oh crap, Noah's really going to get on me for this one. And then finally that one card hit, so it was, it's something. It's not,
Oh yeah,
everyone's chasing the same thing, though. Everyone's chasing the same thing. So there's going to be one guy that's essentially happy, one or two guys, and like you'll have like nine people not happy. So
yeah,
it is what it is. There's, if not me, someone else will be doing this, right? I don't know. I think I've done my part in the F1 braking side of things. I think since I've started doing this, there's probably five, six, seven people more on different platforms that are doing similar formats and doing similar promotions and things of that nature. But I think we're in a good spot where there's going to be for the people that want to buy into F1 that don't necessarily have the capital to just blow through things. The structure is there. There's enough people providing that avenue if you want to take it.
yep,
And for one time a week or two times a week on a Friday night, on a on a Monday when you want to when you're just had a tough day at work or tough day in school and you want to just have some enjoyment and feel the rush for an hour. See if you're going to hit a big card. That there's someone there willing to provide that service. I think we're in a good spot now.
yeah. I literally just had a talking point. I completely forgot because I was too engrossed in listening to what you were saying. I'm trying to see if it'll come back to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a good point. I felt like, but I just can't remember what it was anymore. It'll come to
Yeah.
me eventually, and when it does, I'll mention it.
Yeah, I think with the cards these days, a lot of the people that are breaking, they just they're always saying one time, one card is all it takes. I just need to
Yeah,
hit one card. It's like it's crazy. People are with the cards that are $5,000, $10,000. It's true. You need to hit a pretty big chase card to make your money back. Some people are buying six boxes at a time with me, and it's like, whoa, that's a lot of money. I wouldn't be doing that just because my risk appetite is much lower than that.
yeah,
Um, but it's interesting. There should be a lower price product, in my opinion. Maybe some guys in Europe are saying that there's going to be F1 retail coming out.
yeah.
There's maybe that'll be good for us because there always has to be a price point for everyone. And right now, if you want to open up like one pack of Chrome at I don't even know what the cost now, 60, 70, $80 at a store. That's insane for four cards. That is
Yeah,
insane. Knowing most likely a pack of Chrome is not going to yield might have a track tag that you like or something, but it's for $60. There's a lot of things you can do for $60.
and that's I remember there was somebody a week or two ago who just came in to brag. Oh, I bought one pack on a break, and I pulled this whatever orange Hamilton,
Yeah.
and it's like maybe like I kind of came at him probably harder than I probably should have. Most part of it because part of it is obviously because you're jealous because you couldn't hit that card, and then
Yes,
like,
definitely.
but I think also the thing is like I think it was a dick move to come in saying, "Look, I spent $40. Too bad for all you guys." When like there are people spending thousands and can't pull anything just to come in and I think what rubbed me the wrong way is how he came in bragging about I only spent X amount on this pack and look what I got. Like
He's the same guy, probably putting that card for double than what it really is valued at, right?
exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's a especially in the we talked about this point before in the past. There's a lot more people just coming in and be like, here's what I got, here's what I got, here's what I got. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm glad that you've come in recently and you're investing, a lot of money into the F1 community, and us guys who've been in here, thank you for your service, because our cars are worth that much more now. And you just set the highest comp, and we appreciate your service, right? But yeah, definitely, it's like I said earlier in the podcast today, it's I've actually taken a step back in a way, just because it's a lot of stuff to I remember back in the day, I could, relatively quickly go through, everything that I do with F1, whether it be eBay or Discord or Instagram, and Facebook sometimes, and kind of just relatively know what's going on, what people are talking about, what cars
Yeah.
are being sold, what got pulled. These days, it's I maybe surf through eBay, and get a grasp of kind of what's going on, put some stuff in my watch list. But it's on average, even Discord is hard to keep up with now. It's gone to a place where it's like, okay, I have to live my real life now too,
Yep.
and I can only devote X amount of time to really master or become as knowledgeable as I can with these cards.
Yeah, I think it says a lot to the hobby where, like a month ago, I could point out individual sales on these
Yeah,
talks with the first one I did with Ethan, but now like there are so many big sales going on that I just can't cover them because I would like maybe part of it's me being lazy because I don't want to go look on eBay for 45 minutes before I do one of these talks to find them.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
still like I like it's ridiculous how much money like has
yeah.
come in and like on this point like with like all the people coming in it's a love hate because like I said before like with Sasha with his purchase it's a love hate because like sure like as somebody who has all these cards like it's great like all my prices go up but at the same time like when I first got an F1 it wasn't for the money in this first place so at that point it's a like I despise it because
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
can't buy all these cards that I was buying just for my PC like I wasn't even thinking about sure like I was thinking about maybe selling stuff but not like it is now where like the flipping like it would just be for bigger cards but now it's like I can't even some of these cards a couple months ago I had like realistic sights on are way out of what I can reasonably pay. So that's why it's the love hate with that type of stuff. Now I can't get those cards I really wanted, and I have to kind of set my sights on other things.
yeah. You're right. I mean that, and then but then it makes you appreciate those guys that I think on the last episode, Cam mentioned that he sold a card on the Discord to someone at a lower than market value.
Yeah,
That was neat, right? And I know Chatty does that for a lot of people on Discord as well. So shout out to him. But it, there's a lot of people asking for outrageous prices these days. Sometimes I'm guilty of that just because I know, like, listen, I don't have to sell this card, but if it gets me the funds I need for my next card, then so be it, right?
yeah,
But it does make you appreciate those people that are still kind of that value relationships and value the community aspect and keep things going. That much more because there's a lot of people. I think my last case of Chrome that came in, it got I got killed in probably 1 hour. There was 3 people all coming in from basketball that just snatched it all up and decided to rip it that day. And
yeah,
so and it was they were all first timers with me, more or less first timers, right? And it's definitely a different crowd than what I was used to.
yeah,
But it's and they're all chasing the same card. It's funny. So we'll do it as long as I can keep going, as long as I still have the time. But I tell everyone, listen, 2020 F1 cards are one of the best things to happen in 21 for me, just because it's brought a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, met a lot of people. I remember I was at Burbank once, and this is another reason why Burbank is so cool. Is because it's also a spot for people to meet up and trade and do kind of do business, right? Just because
yeah.
it's a good environment to do that in. And I was at the store probably 2 months ago, and
Okay.
at that time I'd never seen a single F1 card outside of my own collection, and because no store was selling singles, right? And I saw Kulik. I met him for the first time that day. I saw Kulik and Mexipino, doing a trade there, and I thought that was like I went up to Kulik and I was like, "Hey, is that Lewis Hamilton?" And he turned around, he's like, "Yeah, I just got these in a trade." And I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And that was the first time I saw a Dynasty card as well in person.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool. I met a lot of cool people on through F1.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I feel like whenever I see a trade night, it's always through she collects cards and her F1 search at Burbank, like however often she goes, which is always funny. How she's always on
Yeah,
the hunt for F1 stuff. So maybe I get
yeah.
her. If I get, that's my ultimate goal. I said is to get her on one of my talks. That's my ultimate goal because she has the hype of the F1. So if I could get her on, that'd be an awesome talk. So that's the goal. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, do it. No, I'll give her a nudge. I've met her a couple times now, and she bought a couple Leclercs for me, and she's a great. I remember on YouTube when I mentioned searching for F1 online, she was that one platform that was actually talking about F1 and
Yep.
breaking F1. I remember she did like a case of Sapphire, and I was just like, wow, like there's people doing this. And she's very knowledgeable with soccer, very knowledgeable with F1 cards, and definitely ahead of the curve. So I'll send her, I'll shoot her a message, nudge her to come on the show. I think it's she has a great platform and is super 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 knowledgeable, super nice to deal with as well. So that'll be great for you.
Yeah. Before I go on, for the people who heard my beeping, I had to move to the car, like I said. So my car is tripping out. So any of those background noises are my car being dumb. Uh, but yeah, like she was one of the ones like I've always seen her. Like she's one of the few that has the F1 content. And like before I made my channel, I went on to see like is there anybody who actually does F1 content? And it's like nobody does that. Like sure, like I'm not the most high end, but like I know I can definitely fill a niche that some people don't have for that type of thing, and like that's exactly what I'm looking to do. Like I wish I had more time to be able to do like the more informational videos, like I have been doing, but like still like even like posting one of these once a week just to kind of have people listen to F1 cards, see how stuff's going, just to hear people's voices is always great to hear because that's how I know I was with F1. Just to hear anything, any little thing about F1 cards, to hear like one or two other minds. Is exactly what I was looking for when I was first starting.
Yeah, there's an appetite for that too, right? Just from my breaks, so many new guys coming in and they just want to talk. They just want to say they want to have a conversation about these cards and like and just talk to someone who understands what they're interested in, right?
Yeah,
So there's definitely an appetite. Having I think I just eclipsed 500. It's not a lot by any means, but just 500 diehard F1 card guys.
yeah,
And a lot of them do reach out, before, during, and after breaks. They're just like, hey, let's chat F1, and there's a growing population of those guys out there that are starving for this content. So, I think I know you give a hard time to a lot of the big time YouTubers who've come in and invested heavy and started trying to make money, serious money from F1, and we give them a tough time on the Discord and whatnot. But they do bring a level of visibility into the hobby, and ultimately I think it's good. I think it's good that those guys, once there's investor confidence in cards, sure it gets cards unattainable for a lot of us. We're still chasing sets and things like that, but it was going to be headed that direction anyways. That's how I always saw it.
and that's why I don't hold anything against any of those guys because like I knew eventually like it was going to happen, and I think that's just us original F1 guys trying to sit on our high horse of oh we were doing the hip cool thing and now boo these guys are stealing what we love doing. So
Right.
I think that's part of it, but like sure like I may talk like that not even talk bad, but like I may criticize some of the bigger YouTubers, but like it's not like I don't hate them for who they are. I know what they have to do for like if they have YouTube for a living, all that stuff. Like I get that's exactly what they have to do, so it's fine. It just sucks as being somebody who does it for a collecting purpose I think of like because I know especially for basketball, like somebody who collects basketball, like what can they, like how you said in the beginning, what can you realistically buy for like a couple $100? Like you can't really buy almost anything. And for the
Right.
people who collect stuff that sucks, because like they're gonna eventually get to a point where they can't afford it and they're gonna fall out because they can't
Yep.
afford what they want to buy.
Hmm. And
So
that's the majority of people know. That's the majority of the people are people who can't spend $1,000 on a box of cardboard, right?
yep,
And I think that's what Burbank really figured out too. Their business was the majority of the business is in those dollar boxes and in those kind of $5-10 ranges. They'll always have packs available there, for $10-20, and that's someone can go in there, once a week and pick up a couple packs and keep it going that way. I don't know how long sports cars are going to be around at this price point. I just don't think it's sustainable. There's always ebbs and flows, and I know everyone talking about Fanatics and how it's essentially a good thing for the hobby. But for me, it's just like, well, when Fanatics comes in, they're going to want to squeeze every dime out of this hobby,
yeah,
right? Tops may not have wanted to do that, or Tops or any of the other, Panini may not have wanted to do that because that's their business, right? If they don't do cards, um, there's no other plan, right,
yeah,
so to speak. But for private equity firms, there's only one mission. It so happens that the product they're touching now is sports cards, right? And they'll essentially do what they do to sports cards, where it's just like, okay, we're gonna overprint, we're gonna have I think basketball. I heard something stupid like one set has 120 parallels.
yeah,
That's ridiculous. That's no one as a collector. No one wants to even. No one even has the time to keep up to date with all that stuff. So we'll see where things are headed. I think Tops is in a interesting space. I think if Fanatics comes in after they do what they do, they might just buy the Chrome name, and the set rights, the copy, the license to do all this, buy it for pennies on the dollar, just because it's not worth much at all anymore to Tops if you don't have basketball and baseball, and just buy it outright. And I think hopefully Tops can hold out for a little longer and produce F1 sets for a number of years. But we'll see. I think we're in like I said, I don't know how long these price points can be sustainable.
yeah. I think on that point, I'll start slowly trying to wrap things up. I know we both have things to do. Or maybe you don't, but I got things to do in a little bit. So appreciate you coming on to talk with me. This was probably the weirdest episode for me to record, having to move locations in between. So to clarify, I've been coughing a lot. I slept with the fan pointed at me, so I've had a dry throat all day. That kind of
Yeah.
so I've been kind of a mess. Maybe I sound slightly different from other talks, but yeah, it's love appreciate having you on. Love talking to all the Discord guys about just just being able to sit down and talk for an hour about F1. Just for especially for me is very it's relaxing and it helps ground me a lot because I'm doing so much stuff every week. As my car goes, makes more noises, but it just helps ground me and makes it just easier to talk to people. I don't have to worry about anything in this hour except just having fun talking about cards with people. So I appreciate you joining me for that.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing a great job. Want to support you as much as I can, and want to really just tell you again that you need to keep this going, and I'll do everything I can to help you out there in that regard. But there's, you're filling a space where, the conversation is healthy, is productive for the hobby, and I hope you continue on week after week and bring on different viewpoints, different perspectives from different people, and that you'll continue to do this for a while. Okay, it was a pleasure for me to be here today too.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. It's always nice to hear people all saying those kind of things because it's like ultimately like I made this channel like not for myself. Like I could like I try not to swear, but like I don't give a shit about the channel to be honest with you. Like it was my it's like or how like the direction it goes. Like it was a passion project for me. Like I only have what like 40 something, not quite 50 subscribers yet. Like it's purely out of just the love I have for it. Like I'm not making a single dime doing it. It's just I enjoy making it. I want to encourage other people to join it. So it's nice to hear those words from people, and I always say to those people just to keep buying F1 stuff for me. I can't afford to buy some of the stuff, so buy it for me. So
You're doing great, Noah. Don't worry about it. Things will come.
all right, so yeah, thank you guys for listening. I enjoyed talking with Jupe. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, this week or this coming up week, I get out an informational video. I'll really try to shoot for at least one. I think my schedule opens up for the rest of my school semester a little bit, where I can probably get one done. So I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Jupe for some advice. I'm terrible with coming up with video ideas, but besides these, because these are like a cheat code. I can just talk about whatever, and I know people will listen to it. So those actually take more work. So and everybody knows I'm lazy with that stuff. So, but yeah, I appreciate you coming on talking for me. I really enjoyed talking to you. Maybe if I get some more money, I'll join a break. But like I told you, if you got a Tops Attacks Turbo, whatever they are, for like the $10 packs, I'm all game.
Yeah. All right, we'll do. We'll see if we get that in the door. All right.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys later. Keep buying F1.